Yes, as you can tell, I give this book a thumbs down. This is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. And I know I am going against the tide, going against the onslaught of wonderful, beautiful reviews for this book. But no, I did not like it. I did not like it at all. But before I get into the reasons I did not like it, let me give you a brief overview of what it's about. It's about a boy named Thomas who he wakes up and he's trapped in a elevator, which then transports him up to a place that is called the Glade. And what that is basically football fields surrounded by large walls. And the Glade is in the middle of a maze that is built outside of this area. And when he's transported up to the Glade, he comes in contact with other young teenage boys who have been living in the Glade and for years, and they also don't know why they're there. And Thomas, obviously, his memory is wiped, so he doesn't know why he's in the elevator. He doesn't know why he's been transported up to the Glade. That is the premise for the story. And and if you need more information, you can watch other reviews. But I'm going to get into the reasons why I did not like this book. First of all, I didn't like the story. I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me that you would have this maze outside of a football field area that young teenage boys have to try to figure out, which, by the way, it was taking them forever to figure out, 2 years to figure out, and they still couldn't figure it out, and they were still trying for some reason. But anyway, going off on a tangent, the reasons I don't like this book is, number one, because I did not like the writing. The writing, to me, it felt like it was for an 8-year-old. If it wasn't for the blood and the little bit of violence, I would have thought this book was written for kids like 6 to 8 years old. It was that flat. The writing was flat. It was not developed. To me, it was not good at all. Let me give you an example. And this is just, it says, he waited for a nod of consent from Thomas, who gave it reluctantly, then pointed to the kid in the chair on the far right. Zart, the fart, you start. 8-year-old, or 6-year-old. That's basically how this book is written. And then James Dashner comes up with these make-believe curse words that they're curse words because it's stuff like clunk or shuck or shucky, and it was just so silly and corny to me. And that's how this whole book was. Like, the kids would go around calling and say, "Hey, you shuck face." I was like, is this for teens? Is this a YA novel, or is this like a Goosebumps? But I did not like the writing at all. The characters, to me, were not developed. Now, I'm going against what a lot of people are saying, because a lot of people are saying this was like the best book ever. But, okay, another thing. To me, it was boring. It didn't have a lot of different settings. That's another thing I didn't like. There was only one setting. They were either in the glade or they were in the maze. It was very bland. There was not much going on. If Thomas wanted to get away from the group, he went to a tree. It was just, nothing was really well developed. And the little bit of suspense it did have, I felt like the author was baiting the person to read the next chapter. Like, a chapter would be boring all the way up until the very end, where he puts two sentences in it to make you interested in going to the next chapter. But other than that, I don't want to make this review too long. I did not like this book. And as someone in The Maze Runner would say, this book was a bunch of clunk.